What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the Single Player Experience, the show that celebrates all things solo gaming. As always, I'm your host, Sebastion Malden, and today's episode is absolutely stacked. I don't mean that lightly. We got a lot of things to talk about in this episode. We got I'm talking about three colossal stories and one killer game recommendation that's going to take over your weekend, at least if you're a PC gamer. If you're not a PC gamer, this game will probably apply to you when this game is inevitably ported over to consoles, because believe me, this game is good enough that it's going to get ported over to consoles and it's going to make waves on Nintendo Switch, on PlayStation, and on Xbox. But anyways, here's the rundown. We're going to be diving into the latest GTA 6 delay. We're going to be talking about why Rocksteady's perfectionism might actually be costing them millions and millions of dollars. And then we're going to be talking about another superhero game delay, which is Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra, and what it means for Amy Hennig's return to storytelling, her legacy, if this game is actually going to come out. And finally, we're going to be talking about our sleeper pick of the week, which is a PC game that is a wild roguelike that might dethrone Vampire Survivors. I know, that's absolute blasphemy, but let me finish my statement there. With this PC game might dethrone Vampire Survivors as a go-to late night obsession for a lot of people. Anyways, we got all that coming right after the intro. So let's get to it. DJ, start the intro, man.
Fight. And that's the bottom line.
I need a weapon.
You cannot escape.
You forget 1,000 things every day. How about you make sure this is one of them? Here we go!
It's time for the main event.
All right, so here we go again. Yeah, that's right. We're going to be talking about GTA 6 getting delayed once again. Yeah, Rockstar announced that GTA 6 is now coming November 19th of 2026, marking the third delay since the game was first teased. That's right. 3 delays. That's for what easily is the most anticipated game, I would say, in video game history. Like of all time, this is probably the number one most anticipated game. This game is going to absolutely shut down society when it comes down. Like, people are going to be taking off work in drones to play GTA 6. There are going to be people who are, like on this game at midnight and basically staying up the whole entire night to play GTA 6. There's going to be waves of people rushing out to their PS5 and their Xbox, more than likely their PS5, if I'm being honest. It's the one that most gamers actually have nowadays to play GTA 6. So, anyways, Zelnick, the CEO of Take-Two Interactive, says he's highly confident that this will be the final delay. But of course, fans aren't buying that, because let's rewind the timeline a bit, because it's absolutely wild to see how long this game has been in production. Rockstar officially confirmed that GTA 6 was in development in February 2022, but we didn't get a trailer until late 2023. And that trailer, of course, broke absolute records. It had everyone hyped, especially since it introduced 2 protagonists, Jason and Lucia. This is like the crime couple that is clearly kind of inspired by that classic Bonnie and Clyde kind of look and feel. And I was one of those people who was very excited by the look of the trailer. I felt like this was everything that I wanted from the successor to the 3 protagonists in GTA 5, with Franklin, Michael, and Trevor, so I really enjoyed that story in GTA 5. I wonder how that holds up nowadays, but I'll probably try to see how it holds up in the days to come to kind of like refresh my mind on that campaign. But anyways, this campaign with Jason and Lucia looks good. It looks like the world has a lot of personality. It looks like it has that classic Rockstar humor and that Rockstar way of storytelling there. Like, it looks like you're able to do a whole lot of zany things, which is why we kind of play this game, to be able to do some crazy shit, whether it be like, whether or not it be like actual focused missions, and we're doing like the crazy set piece like set piece missions in the campaign, or running around just messing up the world around us, classic GTA style. This game seems like it's giving us both those things in very high quality. So yeah, back to the timeline though. We learned that this game takes place in Leonda, I believe, is like Rockstar's version of Florida, which instantly gave off that classic Vice City vibes, Then originally after that, Rockstar promised a 2025 release window. And then, came the delay. The delay that, kind of took the wind out of the sails for this year for a lot of people, because this was going to be their big game of the fall. It was announced that GTA 6 was going to be delayed into May 26th of 2026, which, funny enough, fans noticed was the same day as Bonnie and Clyde's funeral in real life. Fun fact, if you didn't know that. But anyways, people thought it was intentional, even poetic, even if it was just a happy coincidence. But video games were staying clear out of a lot of that a lot of that window around May 26th, because every game and their mom is trying to get the hell out of Dodge of the GTA cloud, and kind of like trying to find its own little window to release, because you do not want to be overshadowed by the game that everyone is going to be playing. But anyways, now the game's been delayed again to November of 2026. So what's going on here? Like, what's going on? Here's the thing. Rockstar is famous for taking its time with their games. We got GTA 5 and Red Dead Redemption 2, and both of those games were delayed multiple times. And honestly, the end result spoke for themselves. Those games are absolute classics. Some would argue Red Dead Redemption 2 is one of the best single player games of the last generation. Like 2 generations ago, Grand Theft Auto 5 took over the world. That was one of the best games a lot of people had ever played up to that point. So that's what I think is happening here. That's what a lot of pundits in the industry thinks is happening here. They think, right now goes beyond just polish. They're thinking like this game, Take Two, Rockstar, they are trying to get this game right, and they're trying to make sure that everything's right about this game, even though it's going to be in 30 FPS. Like they're trying to make sure that there's no bugs, that the game is completely immersive, that the story is absolutely going to be hidden. This game has been in development for a stupid amount of time, and game development, as y'all know, in 2025 is way more expensive. It's way more complex, and frankly brutal than it was even 5 years ago. AAA games are absolutely massive, and they're practically movies, TV show series, and theme parks rolled all into one. And with GTA 6, if GTA 5 is any indication, this game is going to be absolutely massive. So let's be real. This is Grand Theft Auto we're talking about here. This is a legacy game. This is a game that a lot of people are saying is going to be a game of the generation. This is a game that has, the legacy of not only GTA behind it, but of Red Dead Redemption behind it. This is like everything. This game, GTA 6, can't just be good. It can't even just be great. It has to be generation defining for a lot of people. It has to make Red Dead Redemption 2 look small. It has to live up to 10 years of hype and memes and TikToks and fan theories and, all the comments that we got, we got Donald Trump as our president twice before we got GTA 6. We got, we got snow in Texas before we got GTA 6. Like all the memes that are that people say that we got this and this. Oh, we got an Avatar 2 movie, like the blue people Avatar before we got GTA 6. Everything in your mom, like has become a meme of like these unbelievable circumstances before that happened in real life, before we got another GTA game. So it has to live up to the hype. It has to live up to the weight, the memes, the TikToks, and everything in between. This game has to take its time and has to be right. So, anyways, Zelnick said the team is absolutely seeking perfection, which that makes sense, because it shows how the game industry as a whole is stuck in this weird paradox. Because players, us video game players, we want groundbreaking worlds, and a lot of us want hyper realism, and we get mad when things aren't just highly polished. But then we also get mad when games take a long time. We try to have our cake and eat it too. We complain about all types of shit as video game players. But anyways, honestly, I think Rockstar is terrified of being another Cyberpunk 2077 situation. They can't afford to have that on their hands. That game absolutely changed how AAA devs think about how hype versus delivery and like kind of balancing those two things out. Nobody wants to ship something that breaks on day one. This is GTA we're talking about. It's one of the most hype games of all time. And so I get why people are frustrated. I get that people took off work thinking that they were going to play this game that far ahead of time. I get that people want this game in their hands and they want to be playing this game as soon as possible. I get that they want to fuck some shit up, that they want to go around town hijacking cars and just causing mayhem. And I get it. This is also the first Grand Theft Auto game since 2013. It's been a hot minute, y'all. We've had several different presidents if you're in the United States since this game has come out. We've had all sorts of different things. My Mavericks have went to the NBA Finals, went to the Western Conference Finals, traded a generational player, which I'm still hurt about, by the way. And all that has happened since GTA has come out. So, yeah, it's been crazy. It's absolutely been crazy. But anyways, let's just stick tight and hope that the absolute massive delay into November of 2026 was absolutely worth it, because for a lot of us this is a game that we're not only looking forward to but salivating for. And me personally speaking, I'd rather wait for a masterpiece than rush out a broken game. So let me know what you think. Are you still hyped about GTA 6? Do you even think this game is going to come out, or you're going to have to get in your hands to actually see it to believe it sort of situation? Is it in that kind of like delay hell to where like you're not even looking forward to this game until you actually can see it and play it at this point? Let me know what you think.
Mission complete.
All right, so let's pivot to story number two. And speaking of story number two, we're still on GTA here. I want to talk about the delay and a report that came out revolving around the delay. So let's jump into it. Um, let's talk about what this delay actually costs. Not just fans' patience, of course, because people are kind of like losing their patience about another delay of GTA 6. But let's talk about what this is actually costing Rockstar's wallet, because insiders report that this 6-month delay could cost Take-Two $60 million. Yeah, $60 million. Now, this might sound like an outrageous number, but in context, that's actually a drop in the bucket. GTA 6's projected budget is somewhere around, $2 billion, making it the most expensive game ever developed. So, $60 million for polish is actually, basically couch change for Rockstar at this point. But it's also telling, because this isn't a normal like situation. This isn't about adding like content or adding some more depth to the game. Reports say that this game is actually already content complete, so to speak, meaning that all the missions, the cutscenes, the game systems, they're already done. They're kaput. They're already in the game. They're ready to go, basically. The only thing that this delay is just fixing bugs and just optimizing the hell out of this game. So I think you should think of it as the world's most expensive car detail job. Like the body's built, the engine runs. They're just making sure that the paint job basically sparkles before you take it off the lot. This is absolutely crazy. Like, this game is done. They're just trying to make sure everything is as shiny as possible, is running as well as possible, and it's good to go when this game does drop. So I think that's actually pretty good news, but I do also think that this is a reflection of where we're currently at as an industry, because games are ballooning in scope and cost, and studios can't afford to mess up anymore. The cost of failure for these like AAA high budget video games is just too high. Like, Cyberpunk proved that. Starfield's mixed reception proved that. Like, Cyberpunk was able to bounce back. Like, they added content with their expansion, and it was absolutely amazing. They polished the hell out of that game, and they were sort of able to make a comeback. That's not everyone's typical success story, though. We saw that with Starfield. The mixed reception absolutely killed that game at launch. It reviewed around the 80s. There was a lot of people who really loved that game, but enough people disliked the game, and the discourse around that game was so middling that it killed what that game could have been. Even the game, like the day before, showed what happens when a studio rushed out a unfinished project. We've seen that in games like this. Mass Effect Andromeda was like this as well, and at the very beginning, to where like that initial launch absolutely killed all the momentum that game could have ever obtained. Like, it's crazy. So yeah, $60 million probably hurts. Like, I'm not gonna say it's like the end of the world, but yeah, it probably hurts Take-Two. Yeah, it probably hurts Rockstar. But the long-term reputation hit of a broken game could hurt way more, especially with a title like GTA 6. Anyways, this delay gives Rockstar a chance to test, polish, and, let's be honest, perfect the social media rollout. The thing is absolutely going to dominate, and I mean dominate, the internet for months when it finally lands. So November 2026 might be a painful thing to actually wait for. It feels like it's so far on the horizon right now, because we're in November 2025 as of this episode. So it's a full year that we're waiting for this game. But if it's truly the perfect GTA, I'm willing to wait for it. And let's be honest, a lot of you are probably in that same camp as well. Okay, so let's shift gears here and timelines. Skydance Games just announced another delay for Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra. This game was already pushed from 2025 to early 2026, and now it's officially been delayed once again. This time beyond early 2026. So this one kind of stings, because this was the next project from Amy Hennig, which was, she's the creative mind behind Uncharted. We're talking about one of the best storytellers in video game history, and it seems like she's been on a string of like cancellation games that have gotten canceled. So this is another just like mark against, a mark against her legacy of like, and just adds the fuel to the fire of like people saying, is this woman going to put out another game? Is she actually going to get another game to the finish line? Because a lot of her games have been canceled. This game has been delayed. She had that big Star Wars game that absolutely got delayed. We'll be talking about that in a little bit, but so yeah, this one kind of hits hard for her, like, specifically, and for Marvel fans. Like, especially considering that there was a Black Panther game that was being made by EA that got canceled, and that one hurt me like to the bones, because I was so excited to hear about a open world Black Panther game. But anyways, let's talk about Marvel 1943. The game itself, for what we know about it, it looks pretty promising. We haven't really seen like solidified gameplay yet. We've seen more along the lines of like a CG cutscenes, but from that and from like the excerpts that they've placed out there in the world, we can tell that this game is going to be a narrative driven adventure set in World War II, starring Captain America and Azuri, which is the 1940s Black Panther. You can also play as Gabriel Jones of the Howling Commandos and Nalani, who is a Wakandan spy in occupied Paris. So it's kind of a cool setup. I think like it's unique. It feels like this is a more grounded cinematic Marvel story that is kind of being told with multiple perspectives in mind, and I dig that. But here's the problem: delays are becoming a new normal for big story centric games, and this delay for this game has a lot of people thinking like, is this game real? One, and is this like two, is this game ever gonna come out? Because like we've heard next to nothing about this game. We've seen very little about this game, and Skydance said recently that they needed more time to fully realize their vision, which translation, they need more time to polish and probably manage expectations about what this game is and, make sure that this game, if this game doesn't get canceled, is going to be the best game that it can possibly be. I can't help but to feel like, like it feels like this game is more myth than actually like a real video game right now because we've seen next to nothing about it. Um, and also, with Amy Hennig's track record, if you remember her Star Wars game, with what is it? I think it was Visceral, got canned back in back in the EA era, and even then, like early reports were saying that the game was incredible, but that game never saw the finish line. So yeah, with like all the Marvel games that have been canceled lately, with Amy Hennig's track record with cancellations of big projects, with like this game once again getting delayed, and we haven't seen not a lick. I'm talking about we haven't seen shit about this game right now. It sort of feels like this game is more myth than reality, and we need to see more about it before I think like I am going to actually be upset about hearing that this game got delayed, because right now it just feels like the boogeyman of like the Bigfoot of video games. It feels like I have to see this game and actually see what this game is going to be and see what see kind of a little bit more about it before I get sad about it, before I get hyped about it, because right now it feels like it's a CGI trailer and I got nothing else. I got no other information about it. It sort of feels like what the Wonder Woman game felt like with WB games before they canceled that Wonder Woman game. We were excited about the concept. We were excited about what they were telling us the game is, but like we didn't see enough of it to actually be like super excited or super bummed out. It was a fantasy, so to speak. So I want this game to come out though. It's been rough out here for superhero games, with Wonder Woman being MIA, Black Panther solo game was canceled, Blade, Xbox announced the Blade game that went radio silent. We don't know what the hell that's actually is, and if Xbox is still doing that, so yeah, it's rough out here from Marvel fans, and especially Marvel fans who want to play like good Marvel video games. It feels like we're not getting a whole lot of those right now. So I hope this game does come out. I hope it absolutely nails its vision, and I hope we see more about it soon. Let me know what you think. Are you excited about Marvel 1943? Do you think like this game is actually coming out? When do you like? Give me your prediction. If you do think this game is coming out, when do you think it is actually going to drop? Let me know. All right, so we scoured the internet for all the hot new news in single player games. We talked about, you know, basically GTA and Marvel 1943 getting like absolutely delayed. So yeah, we got all that bad news out of the way. Now let's talk about some fun video game topics. At least like one of my favorite segments that I like to do on this show, which is the sleeper pick of the week. So, ladies and gentlemen, I've scoured the internet. I've scoured Steam. I've scoured the Nintendo store to my detriment because I don't really mess with my Switch very much. I've scoured, the PS store and the Xbox store, all in hopes of finding you the sleeper pick of the week, which is a video game, most likely an indie game that I think deserves your attention and is absolutely getting slept on out here in these streets. So, for this sleeper pick of the week this week's gem is Megabonk. It's developed by Vindad, I think believe is how you pronounce it. But let me put it like this. Let me give you the pitch of this game. You can play as a whole lot of different kind of characters. You can play as a skeleton who can skateboard around a 3D world that looks like it was made by Rare Games from back in the day. You can play as a monkey who likes to throw bananas. I'm talking about Bananas at like enemies. You can play as a oiled up like body building like jock who basically walks around and does the Conor McGregor victory lap walk. You can play as all these characters in a mix of Vampire Survivors and Risk of Rain. And you know, like if both of those games had like a 3D meme field baby, this would be it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Megabonk. Megabonk is like it is a game that is like Vampire Survivors, but in a 3D platform. You pick a character. Each character starts off with their own like move, their own weapon. Like the Bones guy starts off with throwing bones at people, and the Conor McGregor strutting, like oiled up, like buff guy. He basically has this like force field around him that kills enemies when they walked into his force field. Like it has all these different types of characters that you can play as, and each one of those characters has a starting weapon. Now, when you kill a enemy, they drop a gem. That gem allows you to basically level up the weapons that you currently have, or add new weapons, or add new perks and abilities to your current character's run that he's currently on. So yeah, basically 3D Vampire Survivors. But yeah, so Megabonk is a roguelike survival game where you'll smash through waves, and I mean waves of enemies. You'll grab loot, you'll upgrade weapons, you'll try to survive as long as you can with the simple premise of crazy execution. This game currently has 28,000 reviews on Steam and is rated very positive. And that's not an accident, everybody. Like this game absolutely deserves that love and those flowers. But let me tell you why this game absolutely clicks and how chaotic and addictive it is. You see, every run feels like a gamble. You never quite know what you're going to get. Like one run, you're surrounded by goblins. The next, you're surrounded by nuking skeletons with electric bananas. Another one, you're surrounded by like exploding like slime balls that basically get up right next to you and then blow up and launching you all the way across the map. It's absolutely bananas. And that's the thing. It leans into that absurd humor and that like the concept in a way that feels genuinely amusing. It's like it didn't make me laugh out loud, but the game always makes me chuckle. You got meme characters like Mega Chad, the guy I was telling you about who walks like Conor McGregor. You got like him, you got like this fox that shoots who shoots like these flaming fireballs. You got a knight in shining armor who basically like has a sword who moves slow as hell, but like really can cut the shit out of people who walk in front of him. You got all these characters who all look and play in a unique form and fashion. You got items like moldy cheese that poison enemies. You got shrines called the Shrines of Suck. The internet humor is absolutely turned into gameplay in the best way possible. But underneath all that, there's real depth here. It feels like the builds are absolutely creative and the pacing is tight, and the one more run energy is absolutely dangerously addictive. Now, there are two main environments so far. There's the forest and there's the desert. Both are randomly generated, and the dev already confirmed that more content is coming. So, like, even though there's only like two levels, he like layers like those levels in ways that make each run feel not necessarily like you're doing the same old over and over again. There's like this low poly art style and charm that kind of reminds me of rare games back in the day, and it kind of hits me in a nostalgic way. It's that nostalgic charm, if you will, of that low poly art style. And honestly, this game runs like absolutely beautifully. Like it runs on a Steam Deck, you can run it on a like a low end PC, and let me tell you the best part, y'all. This game is $10. There's no microtransactions, and the game itself is pure, absolute dopamine. The grind is real, of course, like really real. But it works, because it constantly rewards experimentation. You unlock new characters, new weapons, your modifiers, that you unlock happen, albeit slowly, but you always kind of like get these really cool modifiers that keeps you fueled and makes you feel like you're getting something new after every single run. For me, this is one of those games where I hop in just for like 15 minutes and I look up and it feels like an hour has passed. Like this game is absolutely amazing. It deserves your time. And if you're a fan of Vampire Survivors, Hollow Cure, or Brotato, I definitely say you should give Megabonk a shot. It's silly, it's satisfying, and it's dangerously fun. Definitely go check out Megabonk. Right now, it's only on PC, but with so many like positive reviews and so many people talking about this on Steam right now, I can definitely see this game, getting a console port, not in the long term future, like in 2027 or anything like that. I can definitely see this getting a port as soon as possible because this game is absolutely taking over on Steam, and you should definitely go play it if you have a PC. If not, add this into your like notes of games you need to play, like make a physical backlog on your phone in your notes section and add Megabonk to it. And when Megabonk hits whatever your console of choice is, hopefully not the OG Switch, but that's just shade. Anyways, whenever it hits like your console of choice, you should definitely go check this game out. It's worth it. All right, everybody, that's going to wrap up this episode of the Single Player Experience podcast. To recap, Rockstar is chasing absolute perfection with GTA 6. Amy Hennig's fighting for her storytelling legacy and, fighting the ops and those people who are saying she can't put out a game anymore. And Megabonk might be the indie hit that you didn't know you needed. And yeah, it's the recommendation of the week for a reason. Definitely go add it to your video game backlog. But anyways, if you enjoyed today's episode, and I'm sure you did, right? It was a really cool episode. I enjoyed doing it. Hopefully you enjoyed listening. So if you did, feel free to hit your boy up with a nice review. Follow the show. Hit me with a like. Tell your friends, your baby mamas, your aunties, your cousins, everybody that you know about the Single Player Experience. It really helps the podcast grow, and I'm trying to grow this thing out and make it into one of the best shows out there. So please do your part in that and help your boy out. Leave a like and review and let me know what you liked, and let me know if you are excited for GTA. I'd really like to hear your thoughts about that. But anyways, I've been your host, Sebastion Malden, and remember, the best experience is that single player experience. Until next week, I'm out, y'all. Bye, everybody.
Remember, the best experience is a single player experience. This is a single player experience. Yeah, hit that like, hit subscribe, keep it locked, no doubt. We talk passion, progression, what this life's about. Got reviews so real, you can feel that route. When we rate them out of 10, we gon' spell that out. Indie love from the block to the cloud. Solo grind, we just speak it loud. Purchase fire, yeah, we run that lane. Best experience, y'all know the name. Running through these worlds, yeah, I'm taking my time. Solo in my zone, every story's a line. No one by my side, just me and a screen. Finding peace in the moments in between. Remember, the best experience is a single player experience. Remember, the best experience is a single player experience. Running through these worlds, long time. Solo in my zone, smooth time. No one by my side. Wait for side screen. Finding peace in the moments in between. Remember, the best experience is a single player experience. Remember, the best experience is a single player experience.